Sir, there are 25 students.
Yeah, that's what, very less students. Anyway. Okay, judiciary. One of the most important parts of our government and a very independent part of our government. Let us learn how the judiciary works and functions in India and what the structure of this judiciary is. Right. At a glance at the newspaper provides you a glimpse of the range of work done by the courts in this country. But can you think of why we need these courts? What you have read in the previous lesson, you have learned about how the laws are made in our country. What this means is that laws apply equally to each and every citizen of India. No person is treated differently, and that a certain set of fixed procedures need to be followed whenever the law is violated. Means whenever the law is broken, a certain set of rules, a certain procedure needs to be followed so that justice is served to the people. Yeah. To enforce this rule of law mainly means that each and every citizen of India is equal in the eyes of law. There is no difference between the rich and the poor. There is no difference between a Hindu and a Muslim, a person living in the village, a person living in the city. There is no difference whatsoever between male and female. Everybody is equal in the eyes of law. That is the meaning of rule of law. Means whatever laws are made by the government, they apply equally to each and every citizen of India, including the Prime Minister and the President of India. So no one can avoid the law. Everybody is the same. So to enforce this rule of law, we have a judicial system that consists of a mechanism of courts. So there is a structure of courts in India which will help us to implement and safeguard the law which is made for the country. A citizen can approach whenever the law is violated. As an organ of the government, the judiciary plays a crucial role or also a very important role in the functioning of India's democracy. Let us see how this structure actually works. Okay. So, what is the role of the judiciary? Courts take decisions on a very large number of issues or problems. Broadly speaking, the work that the judiciary does can be divided into the following categories. First one is dispute resolution. Dispute means a sort of a argument, a misunderstanding, a difference of opinion between two parties, between two people. The judicial system provides a mechanism for resolving disputes between citizens and the government, between two state governments, and between the center and the state. So, the judicial system will resolve disputes between two citizens. Okay, if it is between two citizens, they have to go to court. If the dispute is between the citizen and the government, for that dispute also you can go to court and the court will solve the problem. If the dispute is between a state government, between two state governments, then they can go to the Supreme Court where the court will hear the case and give a decision. If the dispute is between the central government and the state government, this dispute also will be heard by the Supreme Court and they will provide a resolution for the problem. Virtual class JCS. Number 9. Virtual class JCS.
Sir,
Yes.
sir, if the dispute is between Supreme Court only with any other court, then
There cannot be a dispute between Supreme Court or any other court. See, the Supreme Court is the final authority. Whatever decision is given by the district court can be overruled by the High Court and it can be overruled by the Supreme Court also. So, Supreme Court is the final authority. You cannot have a dispute with the Supreme Court. Whatever decision is given by the Supreme Court, you have to be happy with it. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Judicial review. There is a process which is called as a judicial review in case there are some people who are unhappy with a court's judgment. As the final interpreter of the constitution, the judiciary also has the power to strike down particular laws passed by the parliament if it believes that these are a violation of the basic structure of the constitution. This is called as judicial review. See,
Sir,
yes, sir.
sir, it is same as dissent, no?
Same as
Dissent.
defense. I did not understand what that word defense. Dissent. Okay, okay. No, dissent is different. Dissent is actually different. Dissent is when you actually go against the law, you raise your voice against the law, it's slightly different. I'll explain this to you. See, in case any law is passed by the parliament, which the people are not agreeable to, which they feel that is not a right law and which they feel that is against the constitution. See, we know that in our constitution, we have the right to freedom. Everybody agrees with this. The right to freedom is one of the fundamental rights.
Yes, sir.
Now, this fundamental right, that is the right to freedom, means I have various kinds of freedom in the country. We citizens have various kinds of freedom. We have the freedom to go wherever we want in the country. If I am not happy with my living conditions in Belgaum, I can always pick up, move, and go to a different city. I can settle down over there. The government is not going to stop me in any way. If I want whatever kind of work I want, I can do. If I want to join a big company, I can join a big company. Means provided my qualifications are there, provided the company takes me. But nobody or the government is not going to restrict me in any way from moving around the country, from doing whatever work I want to do, from reading whatever books I want to read, from seeing whatever movies I want to, from reading whichever newspaper. See, these are all different kinds of freedoms that we have in the country. That is the entire meaning of this right to freedom. Okay. Now, say for example, I'm just giving a example, a hypothetical example. If the government were to pass a law which says that movement from the state of Karnataka to the state of Maharashtra is illegal, is banned. People cannot move from Maharashtra to Karnataka and from Karnataka to Maharashtra. There is a law which is passed saying that this movement is banned totally. People cannot move at all. So now this kind of a law which the government has passed is totally against the right to freedom which the constitution grants to each and every citizen. So the people of Maharashtra and the people of Karnataka can go to the Supreme Court and say that this law is unconstitutional, it is against the constitution of our country, it violates my right to freedom, and that is why we cannot pass this kind of law. This law has to be changed. That is called as a judicial review. The Supreme Court will take up that law, they will analyze why this law has been passed, and when they find that this law is unconstitutional, they will cancel that law. That is called as a judicial review. Has everybody understood this judicial review?
Yes, sir.
Dispute does not mean debate. Dispute basically means a disagreement. Debate is when two parties, they have their own points to talk about and they debate about that point. But dispute is basically a total disagreement between on any particular point. That is the meaning of dispute. Is that clear, Sumit? Okay. What about the others? Only Vaibhav and Sumit. What about the others? Any doubts by anybody? Okay. Yeah. Upholding the law and enforcing fundamental rights. Every citizen of India can approach the Supreme Court or the High Court if they believe that the fundamental rights have been violated. Very similar to the example which I gave you right now. If any time a citizen feels that his fundamental rights are being violated, then they can approach Supreme Court. What is the role of the judiciary? Let us find about this in total example. So the role of the judiciary is very clear to everyone. It is mainly dispute resolution, that is between two states, between citizen and the state, between citizen and the government, and between central government and state government. These are the different kinds of dispute resolutions that are done by the court. Okay. So now another very important aspect or another very important feature of our judiciary is that our judiciary is independent. This is one feature which makes our judicial system extremely efficient and unbiased. A very important feature of our judiciary. Let us understand what is the meaning of an independent judiciary. Imagine a situation in which a powerful politician has encroached on land belonging to your family. Okay, just imagine a situation a powerful politician has come and occupied a land which is there with your family, or has come and occupied your home. A very powerful politician. Okay. Now, within this judicial system, the politician has the power to appoint and dismiss a judge from his office. When you take this case to court, the judge is clearly partial to the politician. Now, in case the situation was such that any politician can appoint a judge or remove a judge from their position, then the judge would be dependent on that particular politician and would be partial to that politician. So it means that the judge cannot work independently on his own. So the control of that politician holds over the judge does not allow the judge to take an independent decision. So this kind of a situation does not exist in our country. This kind of a situation does not exist, and that is why we say that our judiciary is totally independent. Each and every judge who is appointed, they are appointed by the President of India, who does not belong to any political party or is not politically affiliated to the government. He is an independent body, the President of India, and he is the person who appoints the judges. That is why the judge does not have any kind of fear from the government. This lack of independence would force the judge to make all judgments in favor of the politician. Although we often hear of rich and powerful people in India trying to influence the judicial process, the Indian Constitution protects against this kind of situation by providing for the independence of the judiciary. It is the independence of the judiciary that allows the courts to play a central role in ensuring that there is no misuse of power by the legislature and the executive. It also plays a crucial role in protecting the fundamental rights of each and every citizen, because anyone can approach the courts if they believe that their rights have been violated. So this independence of the judiciary is a very crucial and very important part of our structure of courts. If this independent judiciary were not to be there, then our entire system of justice, our entire judicial system, our entire system of courts, no, the entire thing would fail. Basically, democracy would fail. That is why independence of the courts, the independent functioning of the courts is extremely important. Has everybody understood this independence of courts? Does anybody have any doubt?
No, sir.
Features of independent jury, Sumit, is that the judges are not appointed by the government. The government does not play any role in the appointment of the judges, the member of parliament, MLAs. All these people cannot interfere in the working of the court. The judges are appointed directly by the President of India and the Chief Justice of India. They do the appointment for the judges, and that is the reason why they are totally uninfluenced by any political party, any political pressure. That is the meaning of this independent judiciary. Is that clear, Sumit? Okay. Okay, so now once that we know how this judiciary works, what is the meaning of the independence of judiciary, let us try and let us understand the structure of our courts. What is the structure of our courts in India? Now there are main three levels for the courts in India. Three levels are there: the lowermost level, the middle level, and the uppermost level. So the structure of courts in India now it is almost like a triangle, a pyramid you can say. The base level which is there, that is the lowermost level, that is also called as district courts, or at the level of the tahsils, that is the district courts which we have. At the level above that, we have the high court, that is in the middle, and at the topmost level, the apex court, that is the Supreme Court. Now, the lowest level of court which is there, that is the district courts, they are also called as subordinate courts or district courts, they are called as, and usually each and every district in the state has one district court. They definitely have one district court, and that is headed by a district judge. There is one district judge who heads this district court. So each above this district court we have a high court. So each and every state has a high court that is housed, that is placed at the capital of that state. The high court for Karnataka is at the high court for Karnataka is at Bangalore. So similarly for the high court for Maharashtra, where do you think the high court for Maharashtra would be? But Pune is not the capital of Maharashtra. Mumbai, absolutely right. The the High Court for Maharashtra would be in Mumbai. It is in Mumbai. Okay, so that is the yes, sir.
Sir, I have a doubt.
Yes, ask Vaibhav.
Sir, most of the high courts, sir, have a color of red, sir. Why?
That is the color which is given to not most all the high courts. The high courts and the Supreme Court. That is the color which is given to them. Now, why that color red is there, I do not know. But that color is there. I do not know the significance of that color. Maybe something would be there. I'll find out and tell you. Why is the coat color red? Some noise is coming from someone's. Can you please mute? Okay, yeah. Supreme Court is located in Delhi. That is the capital of India.
Delhi.
Sir, yeah.
Yes, there is only one Supreme Court for the entire country, one single Supreme Court, whereas each and every state capital will have one High Court and each and every district headquarter will have one district court or the Tahsil Court. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So this is the pyramid kind of structure that we have for the courts in India. At the topmost level, we have the Supreme Court, which is located in New Delhi and is presided by the Chief Justice of India. He is the topmost person in the Supreme Court. All decisions made by the Supreme Court are binding on each and every lower court. Means any decision which is taken by the Supreme Court has to be followed by the High Court and the District Court. They cannot say no to that particular decision. That has to be followed by each and every citizen of India. That is the final decision for any kind of dispute in India. The decision which is taken by the Supreme Court. There is someone's speaker. Yes, Ganpati.
Sir, most of the codes that were built in the British times, sir, they colored red.
Hmm. But what is the reason for that red color?
But
Okay, anyway, let us continue with this lesson. Yeah. So, are these different levels of courts connected to each other? Let us see how these courts are connected. In India, we have an integrated judicial system. First of all, it is independent, and then secondly, it is also integrated, meaning that the decisions made by the higher courts are binding on the lower courts. Any decision which is taken by Supreme Court is binding to the High Court and the District Court. Any decision taken by the High Court is binding to the District Court. Another way to understand this integration is through the appellate system that exists in India. That this means that a person can appeal to a higher court if they believe that the judgment passed by the lower court is not just. Anytime there is a dispute, and if the dispute has gone to the lower court, that is in the it has gone to the lower court, that is in the district court. If the district court has given a judgment and the people are not happy with that judgment, they can appeal to the higher court, that is the High Court, for a change in the judgment. And there also, if they are not happy with that, then they can go one level higher, that is to the Supreme Court, and appeal to that judgment. That is called as an appellate system. Now, this appellate system is very, very similar to the system which we have in cricket. I think all of you watch cricket, you watch IPL.
yeah,
Yeah, so whenever the bowler or the people think that batsman is out, immediately they raise their hand and they show that to the umpire, and the umpire will take a decision. Now, in case the umpire is not very sure or his decision is not proper, they can always appeal to the third umpire. Right? It goes to the third umpire. So the third umpire's decision, whatever, is final. Nobody can argue about that decision. So in the same way, this appeal system works for the system of our courts also. From the district court, they can appeal to the high court. From the high court, they can appeal to the Supreme Court. So this appellate system, is it clear to everybody?
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Very good.
Sir, nowadays you don't ask questions. Yes, sir.
Nowadays, I don't ask questions. Sir.
Yes, sir.
Which questions?
Textbook questions.
Okay. No, I didn't understand. I don't ask, or you want me to ask? What is it?
No, sir, you don't ask any question from textbook or from that method.
Then from where do I ask question?